You can love a monster. Sometimes it can even love you back. But that doesn't change its nature. Today on rLounge, we ask if people ever really change or if they just become more of who they really are. Just No Mother-in-Law has turned into stalker after continued no contact. Trigger warning mentioned abortion and violence. This is my first time posting, so I'm sorry in advance if this is scattered. I'm still shaken. Yesterday, my partner, DS, 9-month baby, also DS, and OP drive into the next town. We decided to all go into Walmart first, and then he could go into the last two places himself to speed the process. As we came out of Walmart, we thought we spotted his now estranged sister and her deadbeat boyfriend. No contact, restraining order a year now, and not sure how to tie in that story. But it's also an ongoing court case against the deadbeat boyfriend since he hurt my partner, which occurred 2020 September. We're guessing his sister did see us, and told Just No Mother-in-Law where she's seen us. We packed the stuff in the SUV and left Walmart, parking to go 4 lanes over to be closer to Mark's work warehouse where my partner went in by himself. Baby got fussy, tired, so I was nursing in the back seat when DS said, "Isn't that Just No Mother-in-Law's car?" And when I looked out the front windshield, yes, indeed it was her. Just No Mother-in-Law slowed down her car, passing us on the passenger side, driving, inches away from a mirror, through the empty stalls. I could not get my phone due to position of baby, so I told DS to lock the doors. She then circled the car to go on the driver's side and down the lot. At this point, I'm so mad my heart is racing. Find the phone, I call my partner. He suggested getting her on video, but 2 other cars came and parked beside us, blocking a repeat of her passing us. Partner comes out and we drive over across to the next split mall where Superstore is, and we park by cars that have us completely blocked in. I don't want to repeat. Plus, I start writing the details out because we could really use this encounter. My dear son's head is looking everywhere. He tells me he's a little worried and scared. Me too, little man, more than I can reveal. He tries to go back to watching his movie but keeps an eye out. Where we are parked, I can keep watch for my partner coming out the main door or watch the traffic moving in and out of this side of the parking lot. We spot the blue demon again. I pull my phone out and get a video of her at a complete stop behind us. It's definitely not looking for parking. We're close to the door and it's all full. Then she has to move because another car has come into the section. She only parks the next lane over in clear view of our car. Well, God bless Samsung and their 30 times zoom on this camera. I have stills of her waiting us out, nice close-up ones. Another car blocks our view, so I have a chance to move forward without her seeing. So I repark another lane over and back into the stall. Only takes 10 minutes, but she then pulls up in front of us and slows right down. DS, what is wrong with her? We honestly don't know anymore. She parks the next lane behind us and pulls out when I pull out to meet my partner to load the groceries. As she loops us again, I get clear pictures of her license plate. Try and deny that's you now. But also in the side mirror, you can see her face. Now that's a detailed picture. We load up and my partner decides to break his no contact again. First time is explained at the end. He walks to her car and explained this is harassment. I have video and pictures. She denies the stalking. I'm waiting for someone. Argues she's not doing anything wrong. Why doesn't he smarten up and drop all this so everything can be normal? He said you're the one who's suing us and walked away. Drop what, you say? Well, this witch seems to think she's entitled to see our baby, so she served us both with custody access papers. Typical of a toxic narc in her new title as Nana and her grandparents' rights. She threatened us with this for months every time partner didn't give in to her antics, and it started when I got released from the hospital. I cut her out because my blood pressure was getting too high during the last months of my pregnancy. I let my partner make his own decisions and when to go no contact. Thankfully, it didn't take long after myself. It also helps when Just No Mother-in-Law claims he's no son of hers and had wished she had an abortion when pregnant with him. Who says that? Since we've blocked her on everything, Just No Mother-in-Law has been stalking us whenever she knows where we are. Which she even found out where my father lived and showed up 2 days after he died because you didn't answer my texts. This was the end of September. That's not the only time that I have been documenting it for evidence, but these are the most recent. There's clearly an over-attachment here, and since my partner has cut the strings, things have been a living nightmare. The community has some advice. A deleted user says, "Have you contacted a lawyer yet?" The OP replies, "We have a lawyer for the access order, yes. He was in court with another client today, so we will be updating him about this event soon." Jessamine says, "You may want to have independent counseling with a psychologist specializing in trauma for you and your son. You to help with blood pressure, son for evidence that he can be used to protect him from his grandma, as well as dealing with the trauma she is causing. Individual counseling will probably help significant other too, to unpack the damage of being raised by her." The OP replies, I'm on a wait list, and since COVID hit, all mental health services are overbooked 300%. My older son isn't related to her, but he is coming to my appointment to talk things through. And thankfully, my baby won't remember any of this because he's still a baby. The Sanch1128 says, stay calm, trust your instincts, be grateful that you and your partner are on the same page, and document. Copies to your lawyer, with copies to the court if your lawyer advises it. And remember, you have a lot of strangers on your side. Yikes, I'd be scared too. Poor little guy. It's a good thing you were fast thinking and pulled your video out. At least you have proof now. This woman doesn't sound like anybody you'd want to be around. I feel like she can't serve you papers when you have a restraining order against her. I'm not sure how that works legally though, but I strongly doubt anything will work in her favor in terms of court, since you already have the restraining order. What a nightmare. Update. Almost a year no contact with stalker, just no mother-in-law, and GPR. I guess to preface, trigger, content, warning for mentioning with no details abuse, miscarriage, and assault. I have felt an overwhelming amount of stress in the last year, and things are about to come to a head in the next few weeks. Names are not real. I briefly posted about our stalker, just no mother-in-law before. This is the beginning. I met my partner, Zadist, 5 years ago. I'm divorced and don't take crap from anyone after the crapshoot I had lived up to meeting my partner. I have a just no mom, no contact with 8 years and counting, so I know signs to look out for as I've seen them as a young child. Who would think writing this out would be hard to pinpoint the start and the direction this goes? Apologies in advance. As like everyone else, I found out I was pregnant again in 2020. Around 6 weeks, my partner asked if he could share the news that we were pregnant with his just maybe father-in-law, and just yes, stepmom. They were at our house. They live 5 hours away. So I figured, okay, even though I'm still scared as I lost my last at 13 weeks and I was still also 5 years older since then, father-in-law promises to keep it a well-kept secret until we are ready. Same answer from stepmom. I should note at this point, I would have said father-in-law was just yes, but recently I changed my mind. A week later, we find out Zadist's mother and stepfather are separated and he's moving out of the house. Again, we mutually agreed to share the news to distract her. But she then tells the whole campsite of friends that she's going to be a nana in February. I'm floored, hurt, angry, everything times a million because, hello, hormones. We had explained everything the same with his father. Total disregard as to what I want. Strike one. So a few weeks go by. I found out before we could tell our granny's mother-in-law from hell has told my partner's whole side of the family. Everyone knows. Who knows on my side, you ask? My dad and my sister, whom I both told to stay quiet as I'm very nervous about this pregnancy. At 17 weeks, at 38 years old, and due to COVID lockdown, appointments are over the phone. I haven't heard the heartbeat. I don't know what's going on inside at all. My blood pressure, I've noticed, has gone up considerably. I take to crap book to take my mind off things. His mother posted on Facebook that she's going to be a nana. Like, what the actual F? I don't get it. I'm tired of repeating the reasons why she shouldn't be doing this. It's taking away any excitement we have. I'm beyond frustrated. Strike two, this actually sparks a fight between us even though we have never had a fight before. So he takes to the phone to explain again to mother-in-law to stop the public posting. Note here, I work in the mental health field with clients who are in 24/7 care. I've been told unofficially from the office as soon as I make this known to the office, I will be out on leave for safety reasons. It's too soon to go out on leave, so not only is she risking my sanity, she's also risking my job. I finally get off on leave and we can relax. So we go up to the campsite for a long weekend. Zeta's sister is up there with her boyfriend. The boyfriend ends up so intoxicated, drugs and alcohol, that the fight between sister and boyfriend is starting to attract major attention. Mother-in-law says to Zadist, go over and split them up. Well, it ends up with Zadist being assaulted with a weapon. I call the police. Statement taken. Zadist is a victim. There's a court order, no contact. And since just no sister-in-law took the dang boyfriend back, no contact since September of 2020. This is relevant. Also, this feels like a soap opera storyline and not my life. Doctor says this is a geriatric pregnancy. Hilarious. And my blood pressure is too high. To watch what I'm doing and relax, no more stressful situations. Well, then mother-in-law starts with the sending of attachments of stuff she wants to buy. All secondhand stuff during a COVID outbreak. I stop replying. She cried over me telling her I was breastfeeding the baby because she wants to feed the baby. And then said she had paint picked out for Zadist's old room for the baby to sleep in. Zadist said that won't happen for another year or so. She says, oh no, baby can come when you guys need a break. Like what? Our son came during lockdown, and because I chose to have Zadist by my side, she refused to let our dogs out, so at midnight, he left my side to go home, In hindsight, he learned he should not have done that, and he feels guilty even now a year later. 3 hours later, my son is born. I go to cut the cord and hold him first with 5 nurses by my side. Baby comes earlier than the due date and on our anniversary. Guess who posted his name and announcement first? Not me. I was furious and exhausted. Everyone kept saying she's just excited. I told mother-in-law she had the baby's name wrong and it was my last name. She texted Zadist, "Call me ASAP when you're alone." Of course, he asked what we were talking about, and I said I corrected her on the baby's name. Why? So he calls. She's sobbing on the phone because John's last name is Diamond. "How can she say it's not Diamond?" Zadist said, "Mom, we're not married. OP can name him what she wants." Strike 3. John's 3 days old, and I'm finally home with him. Just No Mother-in-Law said she's coming up. We said no, you're not, unless you're looking through the window. She's also one of those people who sells crap on classifieds that's off-brand, so lots of people go to her house. She gets huffy and cries about not meeting her baby. Zadist offers a video call. Remember the Just No sister-in-law and boyfriend? Mother-in-law won't stop her daughter's boyfriend from going to her house because then her daughter won't go there. So the video call. Guess who's there, and in the background, the sister and boyfriend. I lost my crap. Yelled, "Get off the phone." Explained to Zadist what he didn't notice. I went no contact then, and Zadist was basically still in the fog. He's had an awful childhood because of his mother. Abuse and everything. It just took a while for it to come out in the next few months. So when I kept declining the videos, she threatened grandparents' rights. Over the course of 2 months, Zadist was keeping her at arm's length. It helped that COVID was ticking up in numbers here. They got into a huge blow-up over something, and he showed me his phone. In the course of 2 days, she wouldn't stop texting him. She called me out, and him too. Said she wished she has an abortion when she was pregnant with him, and he was no son of hers. Boom. No contact from him. He screenshotted all of it to their Fam Jam group. This family split and called her out on her crap. Then the flying monkey started because we're using John as a pawn. She got blocked on Facebook and Messenger. She just switched to text. Blocked her there. She switched to our Alexa. Like 1 a.m. getting messages from her threatening us she was going to show up. I said to Zadist, she's effing insane. The summer was low-key, and then she started stalking us. We live 45 minutes apart, and she's where the major box stores are located. Following us in the parking lot while I'm breastfeeding in the back. I got video and pictures. My 8-year-old was with me. My dad, God bless him, told me he missed the boys. Bring them over, and we'll talk about the crazy lady, and he'll cook while we all visit. Last I heard from him. He died 2 days later before I got them over there, and the day after my dad died, the court papers for access to John were served. My life in a nutshell. My dad was my biggest supporter during the hardest time of my life, and when he died, suddenly, I became numb and frozen. I'm still stuck in overwhelming grief. Mother-in-law showed up at my dad's house claiming that we didn't answer her texts. Zadist was on that situation and told her to F off. We didn't want any contact with her ever again. He told me what happened, and I called the police that night. I rambled, and I'm sure that I've forgotten several things. Zadist's letter from the provincial court came today, stating offender date for next hearing was 2 weeks' time. And since we declined mediation with stalker Just No Mother-in-Law, the case management happens the week after that. Is there such a thing as too much bad luck for my little family? The community has some thoughts. First Ribbons of Green says, crazy boyfriend of the sister lives with her, right? Also, she's never been near your son, so no actual grandparents' rights are warranted. Can you guys move away? Melodrama adds, she said provincial court. Assume that's Canada, and don't assume you know the laws there. The no contact, no rights standard is from the US Supreme Court and doesn't apply anywhere else. DOP replies, it was my first suggestion to move far away. Unfortunately, we have to wait until my partner has finished school in April. Parking Ad 1952 says, are you in the US? If so, she has no case. She has no established relationship with your son. Get a lawyer. It's a good thing you have documentation of her bad behavior and stalking. A decent lawyer should be able to make this go away. Once the legal stuff is sorted, I would consider moving a great distance away. I'm so sorry about your dad. The OP replies, thank you for your comment. I'm in Canada. I knew I was forgetting something. We have a great lawyer. I forgot to mention him. He feels we have a strong case, especially since I mentioned moving after partner has finished his trade. I just need more strength to get through this next hurdle so I can get mother-in-law behind us once and for all. I also forgot to mention mother-in-law is on the docket herself for theft. Proof Bill 6434 says, so mother-in-law has never seen kiddo and lives with your partner's assailant. She can piss up a rope with her GPR claim. Listen to your lawyer, and whatever you do, do not extend any nice goodwill gestures to mother-in-law. She deserves crap. I'm so sorry about your dad, OP. My heart goes out to you. On top of this woman sounds like an absolute disaster. Poor Zadist. It hurts me to know that he had a rough childhood with this wretched woman. I never understand why people like this have children. Or where does it all go wrong? What makes people go this way? She literally sounds psychotic and out of touch with reality. Who the hell does she think she is? Update. EMT from stalker Just No Mother-in-Law. Over the weekend, we noticed that we received an EMT, email money transfer. Once we checked our respective emails, my partner said it was from the stalker Just No Mother-in-Law, his mother. It's for our child's first birthday, and I'm completely angry that we received it. This is the Just No Mother-in-Law that we had to hire a lawyer because she wants access to our child. Our case management is next month in family court. We declined mediation. There is nothing to mediate for because we refuse to have her toxicity in our family home. We have been no contact since last April. Me longer, probably a year in March. I feel like this is a bribe to get us to break no contact or to use in her case against us for access because she's showing she supports the grandchild. I'd like to hear from anyone who's experienced this or some rational advice because having anything pop up about Just No Mother-in-Law makes me irrational with anger. I'm sure there will be a drive-by too because what else does a stalker have to do? Update. I did contact our lawyer. I'm waiting to hear back regarding this. Broken Dragon Egg from the community chimes in first. I'd return the money, ASAP, without a note. I hope your lawyer will guide you. Ginger Inno Trio says, this is actually a common tactic with abusers and stalkers. They use bank transfers to show that they can still get to you. There was a thing on radio here in New Zealand about it a few months back because banks can see the abusers were sending messages and threats in the reference and particulars field and were reporting them to the police. You might be able to ask your bank to block all transfers from her in the future. Blossom Butt Dixie says, you should be able to have the transfer reversed somewhere in the app or by contacting customer service. I'd definitely do that as soon as the lawyer approves. I'd also check, is there a way to block her so she cannot do it again? Sorry this is happening to you. Remain of the Day chimes in next. Good for telling lawyer. She is trying to smear herself in honey. Look what a good grandma I am, being nice despite the nasty son and daughter-in-law. Gag me with a spoon. Dollars to donuts, that is the motivation. And like any coward, crap uses a child as a manipulation tool. A deleted user had added, it sounds like you have your account set to automatically accept EMTs, so I would change that so you have to manually accept them, and then the money cannot be deposited without your consent. Ask the bank if they can reverse the one you've received. If they can't, just prepare a check in Just No Mother-in-Law's name for the amount that was sent and give it to the mediator or lawyer on your next court date and ask her to not send any more. Itchy News 5199 has a thought. I work in banking. You can have that returned. The bigger issue is that she has your account information. I strongly suggest you visit your bank and change your accounts. Make everything online and lock those up. Check your credit report quarterly. Change all your passwords on everything. Even consider getting something like Bitwarden. You are exposed. It's a pain, but the peace of mind is priceless. I think you're totally right about her doing all of this to break no contact with her. She's literally desperate. Best to let your lawyers deal with her. Update. First and foremost, I'm not inquiring any legal advice. This is just a post to update on our situation. Legal advice gets my post blocked. Last time I posted, I actually deleted the post entirely because I was given great advice. So what my last post bot shows is we were about to have our case management meeting with the judge. It's a Canadian way in a family court. Just No Mother-in-Law has a lawyer who seems is not on the ball. The first meeting basically is to make another meeting date for May 30th because she hasn't had a chance to speak to her client, but states to the judge if the parents, myself and partner, are not willing to allow access, then she will file a motion to force the judge to decide. So we begrudgingly, March 12th, wrote a FaceTime contact with the help of a fellow Redditor. Can't remember your name, thank you though, to try and stop the other motion from happening. My partner decided to break his no contact and explain it, but Just No Mother-in-Law's catch is it had to start that weekend. Basically, it was every other weekend when older DS wasn't around. He's scared and angry and doesn't want anything to do with her. She's also nothing biological to him and he's from a previous marriage. So she wasn't supposed to ask about him. Keep the calls relevant to little son. No recording or screenshot to safeguard my child's privacy. No one else around during the calls for privacy, and a few about manipulative behavior. I've hated the calls. She's made every other weekend hostile in my own home. I don't normally fight with my partner. We are both laid back, but fights ensued every time those calls happened. She just kept talking about all the stuff she's bought for him at her house, which would send me into a rage. My son isn't going to her house, so stop talking about it. So May 24th, long weekend. Two big things happened. One, Just No Mother-in-Law wanted to delay her call to Sunday to go party at the trailer. Two, my ex's relationship blew apart in epic proportions during that Friday night. His parents were also visiting, so that Saturday morning at 9:30 a.m., my son bikes here, his dad driving in a car full of son's stuff, along with the grandparents in their car full too. I'm advised he is moving all of son's property, dressers, bed, everything, to my house. He's leaving the province for work. Him and girlfriend are done. Huge fight. Phones smashed and everything. Ex basically drops son off like he's Tuesday's garbage, but that's another story. So because of this, partner's text said he had to reschedule the FaceTime call, and Just No Mother-in-Law blew up in messages to partner's phone in typically narc fashion. You always do this to me, you're being brainwashed, and my favorite quote, grow a set of balls and be a man. Because he was trying to protect my older son from more emotional turmoil that day. Fast forward a few days, and we have our case management meeting. Just No Mother-in-Law's lawyer states she just received the contact, but haven't been able to go over it with her client. Another meeting scheduled for September. Judge makes comments about getting this matter closed. Our lawyer states there's been numerous attempts to get in touch. Our lawyer received an email a couple of days ago. Not only does Just No Mother-in-Law say she was following the contact for the 90 days now, she now wants us to accept a 2-hour public visit in a restaurant. 1, she's a stranger. My son is afraid of everyone. He's a quiet COVID baby, used to being with our nuclear family. 2, she and I still don't have contact, which leads to 3, my son is breastfed, and 4, he doesn't want to go with his own father when I want to shower by myself. So how exactly does she see this working without me, since my boobs are not to go? And at 16 months, he's never had to be with his dad alone, not once. We put the 90 days on the contract because we knew she wouldn't be able to follow through that long. She did keep asking about my older son, and constantly texting my partner for more calls when it wasn't her time, and asking partner to drop by to pick up stuff she bought, so she didn't really follow it. And during the blow-up on the long weekend, went as far to say she didn't agree to a contract, so my partner said, if you didn't, then why are we talking, and blocked her, so her messages got screened to junk. If you got this far, what I'm asking is, how do I state that what we were offering her isn't any more than what's available to the paternal grandfather and his wife, so why would we give Just No Mother-in-Law more? Seems like gifting Just No Mother-in-Law more when she's constantly doing us wrong. The community representative from Careless Image 885 says, stop communicating directly with her. Make her go through your lawyer. Make sure your lawyer knows that you do not want her to have one more minute than absolutely allowed. As others have posted, when she wants to change at last minute, say no and report to your lawyer. I honestly am not sure why you started contacting her again outside of the lawyer. I feel like that wasn't maybe the best or safest move for your family. Update. Stalker crossed documented boundary. We reported her. Swearing mentioned word child abuse, no details. Edit to add, stalker is Just No Mother-in-Law nickname. Comes from post history of the day she stalked us around a parking lot in her vehicle while I was trying to breastfeed my son while significant other picked up groceries and supplies. Thanks to a quick search here on the sub, we've reported stalker Just No Mother-in-Law half a dozen times yesterday to Book of Faces. Reported as metadata and inappropriate content for child under 13. Significant other is a huge advocate in groups that help with children that have, in some way, been abused or exploited. He's trying to be the advocate he never had as a child. She had posted several pictures of our 15-month-old publicly. A dear friend alerted our auntie, who let us know she had posted more recently. Unfortunately, my significant other, during a brief interaction over the FaceTime contract, sent one new picture to this stupid mother because she stated she was barf sad. Boo freaking who. I lost my crap yesterday when I found out. Not exactly a shining moment, but I am so over this crap. Significant other has apologized. Therapy has been drawn in the sand because Lord Thunderin' Jesus, he needs it. So as Just No Mother-in-Law seems to think she's been following the contract the past 90 days, I'm sorry you've effed up. Provision 1, no posting pictures of our underage child on any social media. Safeguarding privacy before consent. No nope, nobody nope. I'm laughing my way to our lawyer here to document this. What a freaking joke. I hate her. She's ruined another family day. No Proposal 7628 from the community says, it sounds like Just No Mother-in-Law is trying to ruin her own case by doing things she knows she shouldn't. I guess she just can't help herself. Good luck with this. Update. It's all my fault because Just No Mother-in-Law said so. I'm not a divisive or destructive person. I just want to have a relationship with my grandson and love him. OP has 2 older children. The oldest child is a teenager. He is being raised by his paternal grandparents. OP does not allow the young brothers to have a relationship with oldest. OP also does not speak to her own mother and does not allow her to see the youngest boys. I think this is very dysfunctional. My family have always been very close. I believe it is important for children to have loving grandparents, and I just want to be able to love mine. Yep, that's what she said about me in her latest submission in court. I, and blame. She's never met my oldest, nor have I discussed his diagnosis with her because it isn't her business. My 2 older boys do have contact. It's just not daily because autism, ODD, and ADHD need to follow a schedule. They game with each other and video call. You all can read why I don't have a relationship with my just no mother, as I've posted her faux apology letter. My family has always been close, meaning no one rocked the boat until your son, my partner, started reading how to handle a narcissist parent and started dusting off his doormat for a shiny spine. He's growing, but seeing him outside of the fog is fantastic. I just want this stress-filled life to get more enjoyable and no stress with court dates. Let's Do Get Help from the community says, obviously do what your lawyer says first and foremost, but isn't it tempting to answer? Mother-in-law has no relationship with oldest child's name and is not informed as to what his relationship is with his brothers. My parenting decision in between myself and the other parents of my children. Mother-in-law is not one of those parents and constantly oversteps her role and inserts herself into decisions, including medical decisions, that are not hers to make, and into relationships that she has no part in with people that she has no relation to. I act in accordance with doctors, therapists, courts, advice in the best interests of my children. Mother-in-law does not have the best interests of the children in mind. She's merely concerned with what she wants. Again, I know you can't do this, and you should absolutely follow your lawyer's advice, but imagine saying it to her face what you want, or writing it out in a letter and burning it. Best of luck to you. Exactly, OP. All it takes is one person to stand up to the dysfunction and call it out. I think she's probably pissed that people are finally seeing her for what she truly is and not playing along with her delusional games. It's gross how she thinks she's entitled to see your youngest son. She's literally desperately reaching for scraps in order to remain in control of the situation. I feel like winning the right to see her grandson will somehow make her feel like she's won, and I think she says horrific things to Zadist, like wishing she had an abortion just to tear him down and do some type of reverse psychology on him. Maybe so that Zadist might apologize for how he's treating her and to make him feel bad. Who knows? What do you think? Update from the GP case. Yesterday, we had a court-required sit-down with our lawyer and just no mother-in-law with her lawyer and a judge overseeing it. First time I've ever sat at such a huge conference table, and it was an informal way trying to come to an agreement on just no mother-in-law having contact with my under 2-year-old she's never met. Thankfully, both my partner and I really appreciated the judge's perspective because she told just no mother-in-law the court will defer to the parents of the child what the best interests will be because he's just a baby still. Just no mother-in-law wasn't long before she was crying and bringing random things up that weren't even relevant to why we were there, and the judge, bless her, interrupted her to keep her on point. Judge even quoted a grandparents' rights case that was from Ontario case law as an example of what they will base our case on. We are not in Ontario and have very rare cases here, so our judge was making sure she was very informed on this issue. Just no mother-in-law asked for weekly FaceTime and one in-person visit. We said no. We countered with one FaceTime call a month and no visits. Our original tried and failed contract was bi-weekly calls, so no rewarding bad behavior. We offered less. As you can imagine, she wasn't happy with our offer. Her lawyer tried to say grandchildren deserve to be spoiled by grandparents, and that's what she's trying for. Just no mother-in-law started to say their family never had any troubles until my partner met me. My partner brought up several issues both from childhood and the latest things she's done to him since finding out we were pregnant. Both just no mother-in-law and my partner civilly argued back and forth over the lying, manipulation, the god-awful texts she sent him. The judge said obviously this wasn't a happy family like you said, looking at just no mother-in-law. And if everything in this briefing is true, putting her hand on our papers the lawyer submitted on our behalf, then I suggest you agree today to the baby steps they proposed today. Our contract from before was submitted. 1 monthly FaceTime call we will record for monitoring purposes. No one else present during the call or in view of the call. No suggestions of activities she will do at her house or unsupervised visits. No permission for taking pictures or video and posting them to social media. All pictures be removed from social media immediately. No asking about older child, my child from another relationship. All communications to be conducted in civil matter. To be reviewed in 90 days. The judge warned just no mother-in-law if she doesn't follow this, she will be in breach and this case will end in our favor. And even if we didn't offer anything yesterday, the decision is still deferred to the parent's discretion on child's best interests and how having contact will affect the relationship of the intact family. A leopard doesn't change its spots. I can wait out 90 days edited for spelling and paragraphs. Catonin Island says, that judge is good. So you have a potential of 2 recorded FaceTimes until Christmas. Cool. So in 90 days, you'll have recorded evidence of her going against court advice. Nice. Unicorn Cat 874376618 says, why the heck has she even got any rights to see her baby on a FaceTime call at all? I have no context, but this seems real messed up. And the fact that she would attend court to fight for her perceived right to a grandchild would make me kick her out of my life real quick. Mama Kitty 2011 chimes in, my JNG, when she found out about my pregnancy, insisted that I either abort or give up for adoption. Biggest fight my dad ever had with her. Yes, my daddy was screaming at his 90-year-old mother. I wasn't there, but Dad told me about it. He said that I was carrying his grandbaby and there is no grandparents' rights in our state. He shamed her to help purchase a large baby item. She did, and boy was it helpful. It was a baby pack and play. The baby was early, and I have pictures of my just yes dad getting wrapped around my baby's little finger. She's not the only grandchild, but the only granddaughter. Can you say spoiled? But yeah, your Just No Mother-in-Law sounds a lot like my grandmother. May she rot in peace. She died in her sleep on Christmas morning at 95. Good luck. Keep your baby safe. Hugs from an internet stranger. Misty5303 adds, I'm sorry you have to even have one FaceTime a month. She didn't earn her nickname through fun times. Hopefully she breaks the rules the first time and this will be over quickly. We ended up moving several times, including the last time 600 miles away to get away from my mother. Luckily at the time, she tried grandparents' rights and we lived in Florida where it's a firm no. I know she would have manipulated a judge if we'd have been in any other state. Also, how the F is FaceTime supposed to work with a 1-year-old? My 2-year-old granddaughter wants to FaceTime me all the time, but she is obsessed with the bright right end button and hangs up every time. I'm glad the judge saw things from your perspective and for what they truly are. Definitely saw through Just No Mother-in-Law's BS. Something tells me that she'll mess up because she can't help it and breach the contract. Here's hoping. What do you make of all this? Thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below. Until next time.